Well, as you just heard, Senator Sanders is now making a very public push for Hillary Clinton's superdelegates, calling them to switch their allegiance and back him.
Of the 719 superdelegates, many of those delegates committed themselves to Secretary Clinton even before we got into this campaign. In states where either candidate, Secretary Clinton or myself, has won a landslide victory, those superdelegates ought to seriously reflect on whether they should cast their superdelegate vote in line with the wishes of the people of their states.
So does he have a chance? Let's talk about it with Brad Blakeman, former Deputy Assistant to President George W. Bush, Professor of Public Policy, Politics, and International Affairs at Georgetown University. And Marjorie Clifton is a Democratic strategist and principal at Clifton Consulting. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Marjorie, let's start with you as the Democratic strategist. What do you think of Bernie's strategy? I mean, convincing the superdelegates to come over to his side? Can he do that? Can he pull it off?
Well, he's tireless. I'll give him that. I mean, there's always, so you're saying there's a chance, and I think he sees an opening. And look, nothing is off the table. I would never assume anything anymore, especially after this presidential cycle system. But what I would say is the likelihood, as he cited, the likelihood of this happening is very slim. And I think the only chance he has is moving those superdelegates. And what did happen in 2008, and that's again what I think he's holding on to, was that the majority of the superdelegates who were previously with Hillary Clinton moved to Barack Obama, and that was huge in him clinching the nomination. So that's what he's placing his bets on. Again, I think the only chance he has left.
So much of the attention on a contested convention, Brad, is focused on the Republican side, but Bernie is saying they're looking at one on the Democratic side this year.
Well, if it were to happen, it wouldn't be a contested convention like we have. It would be a brokered convention. And the difference being that you have superdelegates who are not elected by the people, and they're the people who are going to go in a back room and smoke-filled and make deals. It's not the Republican convention, if it were contested, would be before everybody to see. Unlike the Democrats, these are appointed officials. They're public officials. They're party bigwigs, they're donors. They're going to have the absolute say, if it comes to that, as to who their nominee is going to be. And by the way, we don't have in the Republican Party selected people before the people vote. We don't have that system. And that is why it's as undemocratic as you can get that party bigwigs, if it came to that, would choose a nominee and not the rank and file.
It might surprise you that one of the people who seems to be supporting Bernie Sanders in this quest is one Donald J. Trump. Here's what he had to say about all of this. Listen.
The superdelegates, they just hand it to Hillary. Okay? I mean, that was too obvious, right? She walks away with all those superdelegates, and Sanders keeps winning, and they keep saying he has no path to victory. Believe me, folks, it's a dirty, rotten, horrible business, is politics.
Dirty, rotten, horrible business. But does he have a point, Marjorie?
Well, yes, Trump and Sanders, again, there are a lot of similarities in their messaging and what they are representing and why they are getting the energy they're getting. And that is sort of an entire reordering of the American dream and a mistrust in the system. Hillary Clinton is the system. Cruz is the system. A lot of these sort of old school candidates who've been in politics a long time are what a lot of Americans have an allergy to and why they're flocking to Trump and Sanders. So both of them have got a point that they're making, I think a valid one on both sides of the aisle in terms of the delegate system. And that is what their campaign is based on, energy against the system. So
the delegate system isn't, you know, pure democracy, Brad. I mean, it's kind of designed for the parties to put forward the nominee that each party thinks is most appropriate, right?
It is, but for both systems, they have 50 states and 6 territories that make up their primary system. Remember, you have to be selected by the party before you're elected by the people, and the system in the electoral part of this process in November is totally different than the selection process. So yeah, it can be more democratic on both sides, more open and transparent. John, the average delegate doesn't even understand the rules by which they make their selection. They're so complicated and convoluted. And if you have to explain what the rules are, then they're probably not very good rules to begin with. I think both parties can more modernize a system that hasn't changed for 100 years.
Yeah, we will see. A lot of people are talking about potentially big changes in the delegate selection process after this go-round. We'll see what happens. All right. Marjorie Clifton, Brad Blakeman, thank you both.